Hey guys. Alright, so today I'm going to read you the rest of Are You Grumpy Santa? And then we have a little activity that we'll do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll read real quick and we'll see how Are You Grumpy Santa ends. And you'll see if what you thought is how he gets ungrumpyfied. Alright, so I am going to just go ahead and read from the beginning. We all know Santa's jolly, but there's something else worth knowing. There are times when even Santa doesn't feel like ho-ho-hoing. If you've never heard this story, you might be quite surprised. It's about a grumpy Santa who became ungrumpyfied. One night while Santa slept, dreams of Christmas in his head, a giant snore from Mrs. Claus blew him out of bed. He rolled across the bedroom floor, ouchie, ouch, oh! And then he tripped over a bowling ball and stubbed his little toe. He was tired and his toe hurt, but he hopped into the tub. My big round jelly belly sure could use a soapy scrub. But when he turned the shower knob, ah, this water's freezing! He jumped out of the bathtub, now sniffling and sneezing. The elves defrosted Santa by the edge of a small fire and tried to warm his favorite Santa suit inside the dryer. But the dryer shrank his suit, so they made a little switch and replaced it with the woolly one that made him itch. At breakfast, things got worse. There must be some mistake. What happened to my waffles, pancakes, sausage, eggs, and steak? I want you on a diet. You're so handsome when you're thin. A grouchy Santa mumbled, Today, I just can't win. Santa grabbed his gifts and headed out the door, but his fleet of flying reindeer weren't where they were before. When he finally found them, he shouted out, Oh no! His reindeer had been buried hoof to antler in the snow. The reindeer were still frozen. They flew out of control. They almost crashed the speeding sleigh into the striped North Pole. Hold steady! Santa yelled as he unfolded his map. And then a giant gust of wind blew up and stole poor Santa's cap. At the first house on his list, Santa had no change of luck. He jumped into the chimney, but his belly got him stuck. He wiggled side to side and then gave a mighty push. He fell into the fireplace and sprained his chubby tush. You guys know what a tush is? Yeah. It's his behind. In Paris, he was chased by a tiny growling poodle. In Italy, he slipped upon a rigatoni noodle. He was nearly trampled by a bull in beautiful Pamplona. He bumped into a Christmas tree in Phoenix, Arizona. At the last house on his list, near the point of full despair, he tripped over a toy train and flew up in the air. He grabbed the chandelier and then heard the ceiling crack. Poor old Santa tumbled down and landed on his back. I'm tired, my toe hurts, my wool suit is itchy, I'm sniffling and sneezing, my head has got a bump, my tush is wrapped in gauze, I can't take this anymore. I'm a grumpy Santa Claus. Then suddenly, he saw it, next to the Christmas tree. He walked over to inspect it, belly grumbling hungrily. It was a card for Santa. Painted on it was a wreath, and when he picked it up, he found some cookies underneath. As he read the note inside, his heart did nearly pause. We made you all these cookies 'cause we love you, Santa Claus. Santa smiled and took a bite. The lesson was quite clear. Santa smiled and took a bite. The lesson was quite clear. When people do nice things for you, the grumpies disappear. Santa flew into the night, the winter moon aglow. He felt so good, he shouted out a hearty, ho, ho, ho. So remember, make them chocolate, silky smooth, or extra lumpy. Just be sure to leave some cookies in case Santa's feeling grumpy. All right, so in Are You Grumpy Santa Claus, we know that Santa is the main character. There was also Mrs. Claus and some of the elves, but Santa was definitely the main character. The setting was the North Pole, and also he was in his sleigh and at some of the houses too, wasn't he? That was our setting. The problem was definitely that Santa felt grumpy. He was having a very bad day and he was feeling grumpy. How did the problem get solved? What was the solution? Definitely. It was solved because he found that plate of cookies in that card, and since they did something nice for him, it made him feel a whole lot better, and the grumpies disappeared. It's very good. That was that. There's one more thing we're going to work on with our story, and it's something called cause and effect. Now, cause and effect is something that is in lots of stories, and you'll also see in movies and video games, TV shows. All those things will have cause and effect. Our real life even will have cause and effect, and it's good if we can figure these things out. Now, effects are just things that happened in the story or in your life. Just anything that could happen. So if you're thinking of a story or a movie or your life, anything. Just anything that happens. Now, the cause is what causes it to happen. Because pretty much anything that happens has a cause. There's a reason that it happened. That's what the cause is. It's the reason that something happened. For example, when I was making the first Are You Grumpy Santa video, I had to redo the video 3 times. That's something that happened. I had to redo the video. You want to know what caused me to redo the video? My family kept being noisy and I kept having to redo it. So there was cause and effect. The effect was I had to redo the video, and the cause was because people were being noisy and I had to keep restarting it. Cause and effect. We're going to look at some cause and effects in Are You Grumpy Santa, okay? Okay, so I'm going to bring it up on the board. All right, so there's our causes and our effects. So I'm going to practice and do 2 with you, and then I want you to do 2 on your own. So you're going to see in your assignment that you have to do 2 on your own. So let's just think. So remember, effects are things that happen in the story. So I'm just going to try to think of anything that I could think of that happened in the story. I remember he slipped on a rigatoni noodle. I don't think I need it quite that big. I remember that in the story. So we're going to say he slipped on a, I'm just going to say noodle. So he slipped on a noodle. Okay, so that's what happened. That's our effect. But I wonder what caused him to slip on the noodle. What was the reason that he slipped on the noodle? On this one, I'm going to have to kind of use my inferences, and I'm going to have to think. Because the story didn't tell me why he slipped on the noodle. But if I think about it, I bet I can think, well, he slipped on a noodle because somebody must have left it in the floor. Somebody must have spilled noodles in the floor, huh? Yeah, that's the only way he would have slipped on a noodle, is if there was some in the floor. So somebody must have left some in the floor. I'm just using my inferences to figure that out. So I go back and I'm going to say, what caused him to slip on a noodle? There were, noodles in the floor. There we go. So there is one cause and effect from the story. All right, I'm going to do one more. So I've got to think of something else that happened in the story, because remember, the effects are just what happened in the story. Something else that happened in the story. Oh, I remember his suit shrank. That was something that happened. What was the cause? What made the suit shrink? Oh, the story did tell me this one. I don't have to use my inferences. I remember what caused the suit to shrink. Do you remember what caused the suit to shrink? Yep, the elves put it in the dryer and it caused it to shrink. So good. I can go back here and say, the elves put it in the dryer. That's what caused it to shrink. So I have two things that happened in the story, and I have the causes for what caused it to happen. If you can think of causes and effects in a story, it will help you understand the story. It's going to help you remember what happened and why things happened, and you will understand it a lot better. So that's why we're working on causes and effects. So remember, on your assignment, you're just going to try to think of two things that happened in the story. You can't use the two I did, okay? You got to think of your own. Don't use the two I did. Think of two other things that happened in the story. It can be anything. And if you want to re-listen to me read it, go ahead. But two things, and then you've got to think what caused those two things to happen. And that will show that you understand the story and you remember what happened, okay? All right. Remember, you can send me a message or a chat if you're having any trouble, and I can help you with these causes and effects. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.